Series 3, Life, Liberty, Pursuit of Happiness. And here's your host, Tim Firecracker, and our special guest, Nurse Ashley Grogg. How you two doing tonight?
Good.
Really good to hear. Ashley, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. It's good to work with you again.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. So just a little bit of quick housekeeping. You can find us on Tim Holiday TV on Rumble, YouTube, what else? Facebook, and we are now on your favorite podcast app like Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, and some of the other popular ones. So just be sure to like, share, and follow. I'm the person who usually shares. So if someone wants to volunteer and help out and share, that'd be so much appreciated. It only takes like 5-10 minutes. Share to a few groups, friends, so on and so forth. Yeah. But yeah, definitely get around to sharing. So, well, I met Ashley earlier this year, and wow, spicy Mike indeed. I was actually trying to find the sound effect for her like I did for Nurse Ashley. Not Nurse Ashley, Nurse Nicole. I always get Ashley and Nicole mixed up. I had Nicole on the 6th of last month, discussing some of the same subjects that we're going to talk about tonight. But it was me and Ashley share something in common on how we feel about artificial intelligence. And so when I saw this post that she did about a week or two ago, I just fell out of my chair laughing. Let me see if I can bring this up really quick here. Where is it?
I know which one it is.
I'm a little scared because I'm not sure what it is.
I know which one. It's funny. That's pretty good.
I do know which one.
Yeah, I think you do.
Let me find another way to bring this up. I'm gonna have to drop something off this stage here and bring it up another way. And oh my God, I just fell out of my chair laughing. That's why I couldn't do it. There we are. If you say AI around me, I'm thinking semen, not ChatGTP. I nearly fell out of my chair when I saw that. I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, so, AI, artificial insemination.
Let's clarify this, okay? Because this could go sideways really fast. I was, as a child, a dairy beef farmer, and dairy beef bulls are notorious for killing people. And so we AI'd our cows. We did artificial insemination. Gotcha. And now we still have beef cattle. The bulls are a lot nicer, but still sometimes for selective genetics, we still AI. And so I deal a lot with bovine semen to AI our cows. Let's not take this the wrong way, especially if somebody is just listening on podcasts and not seeing the image with the cows in the background. Okay.
Right. Thank you for clarifying this.
I love that.
So now that we're no longer sideways, and I'm starting to turn red here, but anyways.
That's so funny.
So we're really talking with Spicy Mike here about what she's doing in the state of Indiana in regards to stepping forth and doing just being a patriot, and how she's working with state legislation to move things forward, and because without our health, what do we have? One little thing changes in our health, what are we concentrating on? Our health. Now, who has control over our health? Well, we do in some ways, but also our state legislation has a lot of control over medications and insurance and so much more. So Ashley can elaborate a little bit more on this.
Yeah, Ash.
Yeah. It's been a wild journey for sure. I've been a nurse for over 20 years or almost 20 years. Been in healthcare over 20 years. And I never anticipated for the life of me being involved in politics. I am no nonsense. I don't kiss backside. If the words don't come out of my mouth, my face will tell you exactly what I'm thinking. And the reason I get called Spicy, the reason I get called Spicy Mike is because a lot of times I'm just going to tell you like it is. And so
awesome.
When you think about me, you don't think about politics. But one of the things I like to share with my friends here in Indiana is that you don't have to have a lot of money, clout, or be able to kick backside to kiss backside. You need to kick backside, not kiss it, to be in politics.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what is the legislation you're working on right now, Ashley, or that you had worked on?
Every year we try to bring a bill. We focus mostly on the right to refuse vaccination.
I
Sometimes
like
we'll
that.
spill over. Yeah, it's much needed. Like
Hmm.
Tim said, if you don't have your health and you don't have the right to say no to something that's going in your body,
Right, right, right.
it's very difficult to imagine a world where you can't choose. And a lot of what we've seen is the coercion
Hmm.
over COVID jabs and things like that. And
Yeah.
so it's really difficult for a lot of people to comprehend and understand both sides.
Right,
How,
right,
well, both sides of refusing. How do I actually refuse? Because if I don't get the vaccine or the jab, I'm not going to have my job. And
right,
other people are like, you just say no and you risk it. And so we're kind of walking this middle line, trying to bring everybody who wants to say no together, give them
right,
the right to refuse. And our legislature really takes highly to the fact they don't think that they should legislate what a business can or cannot do. And I always laugh at that because they tell businesses what to do all the time through the health
right,
board
correct.
and all these
Right.
different things, you know? And so
Constantly.
yeah. And so I got creative and I wrote a bill that said employers can mandate a vaccine so long as they respect the individual's right to refuse without coercion or threat.
Right.
And that is in regards to their uniform, which would include a mask and things like
Yeah.
that, testing.
Right.
So that is legislation that we've been putting up the past couple years. Also worked on legislation because vaccines that are on the childhood schedule
Yeah.
do
Right.
not have manufacturer liability.
Oh,
And
why?
so,
Right.
did you
That's
say
crazy.
why?
I've never heard.
I said
Yeah,
I've
right
never.
because that act of
no, I was thinking,
1986.
why? Why do
Oh,
they not
why?
Yeah,
have any liability?
that's
They
a
should
really
have
good thing.
liability.
That's a really good thing for us to go over because
Right.
unfortunately a lot of people don't know, and even though I was administering these vaccines early on in my career, I didn't
Mhm.
know that either. I didn't know vaccines were anything but safe and effective. It wasn't
Right.
quite a while into my decision to stop vaccinating my family that I found out that there in 1986, so 2 years after I was born, there was an act of Congress that removed liability from all vaccine manufacturers and those who administer them
Wow.
because they are unavoidably unsafe. Even if the manufacturer does everything right, even if the person administering the vaccine does everything right, there are still a certain number of injuries that are going to happen. And
Right.
at the time, the years preceding DTP, a Shot in the Dark was the book by Barbara Loe Fisher. I think it came out afterwards, but
Yeah.
Hmm.
Barbara Loe Fisher and bunch of other parents had come together and they were fighting back. There had been many, many lawsuits against the manufacturer because their children were becoming harmed. So the
Right.
manufacturers were losing money on these products. They went to Congress. They said, "Hey, you know, we can't keep making these products. They're harming people. We're
Hmm.
getting sued."
Yeah.
And so, if you want to continue the vaccine program, you're going to have to take away liability. And Congress did. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, if you
Unreal.
get injured by a vaccine, you cannot sue the manufacturer. There is something that's, known as vaccine court. And it's,
Hmm.
you actually
That's a
sue the
thing.
secretary. Yeah. You sue the secretary of HHS in a special, it's not even really a court, but it's a kind of like a special hearing,
Hmm.
and it takes decades for people to get through. It's
Right.
absolutely wild. There's very limited success, and you have to bring all the records and prove that the harm was related to the vaccine.
That's
And
awfully
so,
difficult. Right.
yeah,
That's
it
hard to
really
do.
is.
It is.
And there are time frames that you have to meet before you can go in, and it's a huge mess. And so that's really difficult. And what we want to do with this legislation is
Mm.
put some responsibility back on these manufacturers because there are no vaccine, not one vaccine on the current childhood schedule has ever been placebo safety tested. And
Oh God.
so yeah, 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 they aren't
Let's
tested
just
for
chill
whether or
our
not
kids,
they
right?
Yeah, they are not tested for whether they cause cancer, whether they cause issues with your fertility. They're
Yeah.
not tested for genetic mutations. And it all says that right there in the inserts, that these products have not been tested for that kind of safety. And so there are a lot of issues and risks, and because they have no liability, they have no motivation
Yeah.
to do better. So we'd
Right.
like to get those placebo safety studies done,
That'd be
have the
smart.
information available to the public, and then
Right.
the public have the right to refuse. And
Correct.
that is a big priority for us.
Well,
That's awesome.
it was in the mid to late 70s. There was either a bird flu or a swine flu vaccine that came out for a very short time. And I want the audience to look this up. I can't quite directly quote, but there was a few deaths that occurred from this vaccine,
From the vaccine.
and it was pulled. It was pulled.
Hmm.
So we never heard of this, swine flu or bird flu vaccine. I'm not exactly sure the year or the name of it actually, but I do recall reading an article in regards to this a couple of years back. I mean, there's been so much change going on with our healthcare industry, and especially within the last 5 years, almost 6 years now. But I remember it was in 2019. There's a group of moms, nearly pounding down the walls in Sacramento because of some crazy bill that the state legislation was trying to pass. It was the moms in California were not feeling too comfortable with, so they're protecting their kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And they make it mandatory, right? For your kids to go to school. Don't they make it mandatory in your state? Ashley?
So we do have a quote requirement that you can use a religious exemption here, or you can have medical exemption. So we help people with our state, for our state funded educational institutions. It's pretty easy to get a religious exemption. When you go into colleges and stuff like that, it's much more difficult. And so, Hoosiers for Medical Liberty, we try to make all that information accessible on our website, so that way people can have that information and not be bullied into getting vaccinated.
Yeah, because you don't know what it is.
Put that link into the chat. And for those of you watching on Rumble, it's in the chat, not in the comments yet. I'll put it in the comments after the show.
Figure it out. And you wrote a book, Ashley, too?
Yeah. Yep. There's only one of me, right?
Right.
And I've amassed a fair amount of knowledge, and I want other people to be able to pick up and do exactly what I'm doing, because that's how we make real change, right?
Right.
I always joke around and say I'm MLMing politics, like multi-level marketing, how they do really good at duplicating their education. Right. And so I say that's what I'm doing with politics. And I took the struggles I had back when I was a nurse in the hospital, and those experiences and the way that I tried to advocate for my patients and my peers and failed miserably. I was on every committee in the hospital and nothing was changing, and I couldn't do anything to help anybody. So I ended up leaving. The moral injury was intense, and doing other things. But when I got involved in politics, I learned how to be effective very quickly. And like I said before, I don't have a ton of money. I don't have the ability to kiss backside, and I sure don't have any clout, within the state politics realm. And so, it's been a wild journey. It's all about accountability, and it's about how you apply that accountability. And so I took the experience that I had in the hospital and all of my nursing knowledge, combined it with the political knowledge, and I gave a roadmap. It's called Resuscitating Nursing, a tactical roadmap for nurses who refuse to be silenced. And that's exactly what it is. It is a play-by-play book to show you, okay, this is what the problem is. This is how we assess the problem. And it's all things that we do in nursing, because I think that's what stops people from making change is fear and the unknown. Yeah. So you can just pick up the book. And even if you're not a nurse, you can use this. You just might not laugh at some of the nursing jokes that I tell in here. But there's also a workbook that goes right alongside of it. Yep. Tim's got it there. There's a workbook that goes right alongside, so you feel like I'm there with you, helping you through these different assessments and
that's awesome.
Just the things to get started and really make effective change very quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, as I said in November 6th, it doesn't take a lot, some of your time, whether it be a phone call to your state legislation, writing a quick little letter to your state legislation, or even showing up during these legislation hearings, wherever they may be. For me, it was like a 2.5 to 3 hour journey from where I was living at the time to the state capitol to go to that. Firecracker is a lot further away from the state capitol. California is a huge state.
Right.
I'm now in the Midwest, where it's it's still a little bit of a journey for me, but not as bad as it was at one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it just takes a little time. That's all.
What about this new thing with this shingles thing that adults are getting? Do you know anything about that, Ashley?
Yeah, that's not new, unfortunately. So just to take a step back, your advocacy and your change, you can use everything in the book, whether you're a nurse in the hospital, nursing home. These same tactics can be applied politically to the hospital systems or to, even your profession. So it doesn't just have to be with your state legislature. But in regards to shingles, when I was a new nurse and for several years into my nursing career, we very rarely had patients with shingles. Shingles is a dormant virus. After you have the chicken pox, it can lie dormant along your nerves and then reactivate when your immune system is weakened or you have a lot of stress, which weakens your immune system.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what the shingles is. But typically, we did not see shingles in healthy people. The only people we saw this in were the extremely elderly, cancer patients, and HIV patients.
Right. Because I feel like everybody's getting it now. Like it's a thing.
When I was in the hospital, we'd put these people on negative airflow rooms and their precautions, and you treated them special because you didn't want to pass it around because it is contagious if you come in contact with the blisters. But it was absolutely crazy for me to see these patients it exploded, and it's not just the very sick anymore, it's in everybody.
Right, because I know a lot of people, young people that are getting it right now, and I'm thinking, wow, I thought if you had chicken pox you would never get it. That's what I thought.
No, it's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite.
Is it?
If you get chicken pox,
I call it revenge of the chicken pox.
Oh, okay. Sounds right.
And we used to have chicken pox circulating within the community all the time. So you would get little boosters. You would have chicken pox as a kid, or it would circulate in your family. And so you would have it. Yes, the virus may be laying dormant in your system.
Right.
But you would be constantly getting a little booster because of chicken pox being in the community. You might get exposed through family or friends or work or whatever. So your immune system would recognize it and say, nope, we don't, we're not going to have any of this. Let's shut it down. And it would shut down the virus. Well, unfortunately, with the chicken pox vaccine does work really well at preventing chicken pox. And so you don't have chicken pox as a kid, but you get exposed or you have this virus because it is a live virus vaccine. So you have this virus injected into you, and then you don't have these constant little boosts from the exposure to natural chicken pox. So your body's immunity kind of wanes or may wane over time, and then you get shingles because we have high levels of stress. We have high amounts of sugar in our diet. We don't have really good nutrition. And so people become more susceptible to this virus rearing its ugly head. And it's just kind of a mess.
In our area in LA County, I think there's like a huge outbreak right now. I don't know what's happening. That's why I asked. There's no way to not get it. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it no matter what, right?
It used to be, take care of yourself. You can use natural antivirals. Maybe you use, and this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm not your nurse, so this is not medical advice. Talk with your healthcare provider, but you can use natural antivirals. You can make sure that you're getting plenty of vitamin D. Being in California, you can be outside plenty.
Right.
Managing your stress and, all those things can be really helpful. The old vaccine for adults used to be a live virus vaccine. And that I think was phased out about 2 or 3 years ago. And it was crazy because we would see people get the shingles vaccine and then they would break out on their arm with
Oh, wow.
shingles because, and
That's
so it's
crazy.
good. Yeah, yeah, that is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Oh, your internet was cutting out just for a brief moment there, Ashley. But yeah, to my knowledge, dangerous places to get the shingles is on the face, especially close to the eyes. Um,
Yeah.
Typically, people get it on their back, and to my understanding, it's a terrible neurological pain that they're receiving, and the
Yeah.
medication they give for it, I don't know what's worse, the pain
Right.
or the medication.
I
And I'm
don't either.
forgetting which one of the two medications, if it's gabapentin or pregabalin. I unfortunately I've taken both because I have neurological issues, or it appears to be. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with a lot of the medications. So definitely look up, consult with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. So just and neither is Firecracker here. So
No, we don't know nothing. I know nothing. How about that?
Yeah.
I know how to do my
If
own homework, and you should all know
Yeah,
how to do that too.
that's important.
find a naturopath, find a chiropractor. They're going to be able to help support your body with natural
I agree.
antivirals, because
Hmm.
they will give antivirals to patients with the shingles, and then
Yes.
they'll do some like palliative gabapentin, something to alleviate the symptoms of the
Oh, the
neurological pain.
pain. Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
other people don't get anything for the pain. Some will
Yeah.
just skip that and just give the antiviral, and that's that. So, but
I
I
Yeah.
would
wish
find a
Brave
good
Dave. I wish
naturopath.
Brave Dave was here because he would give the whole backlog on these medications.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I was just curious if it's like a thing there. I don't know if it's a thing where you guys are at, but here it just seems to be like all of a sudden healthy people are just busting out left and right with this.
Well,
So,
you also have to think about the way that um the different things that could impact your immune system and cause
yeah.
vaccine
yeah, that's
induced
true.
immune dysregulation.
Hmm.
Um, so, if there is a highly vaccinated population with these mRNA shots,
Right,
are
which there
they
is.
going to have the immune exhaustion, and
Hmm.
they're going to be more susceptible to these dormant viruses?
Correct.
And what do
That's
you
what I'm worried.
what are your thoughts about shedding in regards to some of these vaccines, especially some of the most recent vaccine that came out?
So the
Or
COVID jabs
okay,
or the
so
self-amplifying COVID, I don't think those have been released yet in the United States. At least I know they're in France,
oh no,
Not here.
but I'm pretty sure they were released in France. I just saw something by Nick Holscher about pet vaccines
yes,
being released already that
Oh
are
my gosh.
self-amplifying, which scares the daylights out of me.
Me
You
too.
know, I I was hesitant to make any statements early on about shedding
yeah,
because is the mRNA that long? Normal mRNA would not last that long. It would die. It would
Right.
die very quickly. But it's in these lipid nanoparticles. And so that's an issue. Um, is it possible that that could shed?
okay,
I think that we're seeing some evidence come out that that's very possible. There was some recent studies that showed that there was mRNA in unvaccinated women's placentas and cord blood
Wow.
and breast milk. So
That's
that's really
oh
crazy.
wow,
terrifying.
That is
And this isn't
terrifying.
even, it's not even self-amplifying. The self-amplifying are supposed to be able to replicate themselves. And that
Right.
I'm pretty confident in saying that probably will shed. Like I don't feel hesitant to say anything.
so
So
from
Yeah,
some of my
shedding, what's
oh go ahead,
shedding for dumb people like me?
it
What's
means
shedding?
that so the person who gets vaccinated becomes like a factory for this stuff, and
Okay.
with the self-replicating, that's the mRNA replicating and being released out of their body.
Oh wow.
There's
That
also the shedding for sure with the spike
that's
proteins. We put off proteins in our breath all the time.
okay.
You
Well, that's
sneeze,
crazy.
everything like that. And so they're little spike protein factories. And so their body was trained by these mRNA jabs to create these spike proteins. We don't know how much of their tissue was trained, what the
Right.
volume is, and we don't know how long. Some of the people who
Wow.
have been COVID jab injured are still popping labs showing the production of spike. And
Yeah,
so
that's
we know that
crazy.
it's possible to last 5 years. It's
Right.
absolutely crazy. So they're shedding in that respect too, that they're making these spike proteins and then they're releasing them. We know that the spike proteins are highly inflammatory and cause issues. So there's a whole lot there.
Yeah, that's scary. That's very scary. So mRNA, they could use that to treat cancer, can't they?
They can use the mRNA vaccine. So it kind of like is just, they call it messenger RNA.
Right.
So it just,
I want to make a quick little correction. From some of my studies and research, it's not a vaccine, it's actually gene therapy. So go ahead and look that up.
Yeah, people should look that up.
I honestly don't think it's a vaccine, because a vaccine actually contains the virus, to where this is actually therapy.
Well, they keep changing the definition of vaccine. And so I think it depends on who you're talking to. What kind of a population are you talking to? Are you talking to risk-aware people who are understanding and maybe not wanting to get the jabs? And that's what I call them jabs, is because it's like, do you call it a vaccine? Do you not call it a vaccine? I don't
call it a vaccine. I call it a jab. Because you don't know.
I saw today, I think it looks more like a traditional vaccine where they're making vaccines for fentanyl. They're test trialing it right now, or beginning that test trial coming up very soon. But the idea is to make people not react to fentanyl, so you're not going to have the overdoses. I think that Nicole, Dave, and I are going to have to do a show on that, on the Nurses Report, because there's so many things that I want to talk about on that.
Yeah.
You know, everybody I know that got the jab, they actually got COVID. I didn't get the jab and I never got it. So I find it very odd. And I was around a lot of people that had it and that were like, you know, I'm sure it's highly contagious, right? I should have got it. I should have got it like probably 12, 15 times. I never got it.
I'm pretty sure that we had COVID in October of 2019. My daughter and both of my in-laws were hospitalized with some sort of respiratory infection. It made them incredibly sick. My daughter, they told us that she had bilateral pneumonia. They did a chest x-ray the next day and it was clear. They said it was rhinovirus, but she was in the hospital for several days in 2019. And then both of my in-laws were elderly. They both got sick. My father-in-law's heart failure went through the roof. My poor mother-in-law ended up needing a surgical procedure because fluid kept on building up between her lung and the lining of her lungs. So it was causing
how scary.
She was in kidney failure. And this was before remdesivir, because this is in 2019. So they had this whole issue of side effects or complications that came after whatever that respiratory illness was. And so I think maybe some people had it before, or they just didn't realize that they had COVID because it seemed like another cold for them. They had some cross reactivity and protection from other coronaviruses. And so that's entirely possible.
Yeah. So the rhinovirus is typically a head cold, and isn't that like the same? It's just larger. It's a
cold. It's a
coronavirus because of its shape and such, but it's not the same as the SARS-CoV-2.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Speaking of that, SARS, sudden acute respiratory syndrome. My sister was hospitalized in 2007 with it, and I didn't realize it was the same exact thing until you get a COVID test, right? And it comes up on the top, so SARS-2, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a second, that's the same thing that she had back then. So was it a different strain of it? Is that what happened? So it created some new strain from that time, like 20 years later?
No, I mean, so this is, it depends on I think it was lab created. That's my personal opinion. I think there's enough evidence to come out to say,
I agree,
because it was a novel coronavirus. There are multiple coronaviruses out there. They circulate, they mutate, but there was such a significant shift in the genetic makeup. That's just, it's not natural.
Right.
So,
and the way it affected certain people, like it just, for some reason, right? Like the elderly just were dropping like flies, huh?
Well, I
was
think that was
crazy.
partly because of the inflammation and then secondary infections. We weren't treating people the way that we normally would have.
Yep.
And so, it's crazy because I was really concerned about what happened with my daughter and my in-laws in
Right.
2019. I was talking with different coworkers who we have two major hospital systems in the town that I live in. Um, and so I was communicating with these two different hospitals, and their ERs were packed to the gills.
Oh
They had
yeah, I'm
people in
sure.
the hallways. I mean, it was absolutely terrible,
Yeah.
but we were using the normal tools at that time, nebulizers, steroids,
Right.
antibiotics
Right.
for secondary infections. And so, we were taking care of those patients. And then
Right.
when COVID actually hit, like when they started panicking, they
Yeah.
quit doing the nebulizers. They quit doing their standard
Isn't
respiratory
that
protocols.
crazy? That's crazy.
Yeah, and so their lungs had the chance to develop these secondary pneumonias, which if you go back and you look at all these illnesses, these viruses and bacterias that we vaccinate against, historically the problems that arose from them were secondary bacterial infections, pneumonia
Oh.
being one of the primary ones that killed
Mm-hmm.
people.
Yep.
And it's just absolutely wild. Like it was a mess. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even in the hospital then. I had already exited the hospital system.
Yeah. Thank
Smart
God you
move.
weren't in the hospital because I mean, getting the jab was something you have no idea what it is and what it's going to do to you long term. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I
I mean,
wouldn't have. They would have fired
I
me because
I
Yeah.
honestly think that the test that they're using is, making mountains out of molehills.
Right.
It'll find a
Probably.
little tiny nugget of whatever they're
Yeah.
trying to look for, and it just amplifies it extremely. And that's just my
Right.
opinion.
Right. Right. I mean,
Not
that's
professional.
fact.
Oh,
Well,
actual.
depending on how many cycles that they do with the different PCR tests, it can
yes.
amplify and you can find things that aren't really there. And PCR tests are not great. Let's just say that
Right.
in
Right.
general.
Right.
But then they were abused and their shortcomings were exploited during
Right.
the pandemic.
Right.
I mean, are
I
they
think this
truly testing for the antibodies in the bloodstream? Is that's
correct.
a question there.
Those tests, I think that they do look at. I would have to go look it up, but I'm pretty sure they're actually looking when they test for antibodies, not the PCR testing, the
Right.
nose
Right.
swabs. But when they're doing a blood draw and they're looking for antibodies, I do think that they have those and are looking directly at the antibodies present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's just
So that's,
wild.
to me, that'd be a more accurate test or closer to accurate than the PCR.
Yeah, I would be scared to death to work in a hospital during that time. That would have been I mean, because it just came out and all these people were dying and everybody's talking about it. Like in LA County, they came on, our health department lady came on every day and told us we were all going to die. And I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm shutting this off. If I'm going to die, if it's my time, it's my time. I'm just going to die. I'm not going to listen to this lady tell me every day we're all going to die.
Well, and that fear shuts down your immune system. They knew what they were doing. Psychology is so important, and it's
It's
crazy
true.
because before COVID, I remember very distinctly because we had just thrown a surprise birthday party for one of my cousins, and we went to
Mhm.
mass afterwards, and we were sitting in church, and the energy was so thick. I felt a million miles away from everybody in there. And I looked over it. It was just the most unsettling, worst feeling that I had
Yeah,
ever had. And usually I take great comfort in being at church.
correct.
Um,
Yeah.
but I looked at my husband and I said, the greatest battle we will have in all of this is the psychological one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It
Well,
wasn't the psychological battle that I thought that it was going to be because at that time we really didn't know. We were seeing a lot of people who were very sick,
Yeah.
and it was definitely a struggle, but that those words came back to really haunt me. And that was in March, the night before our state shut down.
wow.
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah, so
was,
with this fear, they caused a lot of division, which is very unfortunate. We've seen that, and
yeah.
now we're seeing people, slowly starting to wake up to some things, but
Yeah.
not quite the full awakening that we had hoped for.
Well,
Yeah.
and psychologically, they know that when you isolate people, they don't have that support
Yeah.
system. We are herd animals. pack animals, whatever you want to say. We're mammals. So we need that community, that sense of belonging, that sense of connection. It's very important to our overall well-being. So you couple this isolation, segregation from your community, your support system, and your network with the psychological fear and manipulation of you're going to die.
Every day of your life, you hear
it. Those two things are so powerful in conjunction with people's psyche. You're just going to convince them. And
even if you know it's not true, eventually you'll believe it, right? That's just how it goes. You could know for a fact 100% that something's not true, but if somebody tells you every single day, eventually you'll believe it. So I figured it was manipulation of some sort. Yeah. I'm glad you verified that.
So Ashley, tell us a little bit more about Hoosiers for Medical Liberty.
Yeah.
It was really crazy because I saw what had happened in the Samoan Islands when they, in 2016, they refused to allow vitamin A treatment for a measles outbreak, and they did door-to-door vaccination campaign. And then I saw what was happening in New York a couple years later when they had a measles outbreak and the Hasidic Jewish population was locked out of synagogue. And I thought, oh, this is a dry run. Something bigger is coming. My grandfather was in Auschwitz, and I was not going to do that. And so that was 2018, 2019. I kind of looked around and I'm like, okay, how can I stop this? Like, I know something is coming. God was placing that pretty heavy on my heart and just showing me, what to watch for. And I hated it, but I knew politics was the answer. I went to begrudgingly went to a political class that I thought I was going to leave 2 hours in. It was supposed to be 8 hours, and I thought I was going to leave after 2 hours. But what they taught me in that class was that politics is a numbers game. The numbers are far smaller than what you would ever imagine. And I can use my natural assertiveness to be effective in politics. And so that was on February 1st of 2020. I was at that class, learned that, got energized. And then on February 8th, I signed the paperwork for a nonprofit with an attorney, set everything up and hit the ground running. And then, of course, March rolled around and here we were with COVID. We saw people starting to force the flu vaccine because of COVID, which made zero sense. But and so it just kind of hit the ground running and went at it. And I get grassroots involvement because that's truly the way you make change. It's the people.
Yes.
It is true.
And teach people how to make politics easy, because you shouldn't have to dedicate your entire life to politics to make a difference.
Right. True. But you're making it happen though. I love it.
Yeah, February 8th, that's right around the time in 2020. That's when I became a proponent to recall the governor of California. Wow, what an
we're still trying to do it over here. Hasn't worked yet. We've been trying forever. Navigating healthcare in California is even more difficult. So, you have elderly parents and, stuff like that, and you're trying to figure out the laws and the rules, and because they can just put you on the back burner forever over here.
Well, I remember without insurance, it was about 25, 30 years ago, walking into a doctor's office without insurance. $25, you're seen. You're heard. Doctor.
And they give you free prescriptions.
Well, sometimes they did. They'd actually give you samples.
They really would. Yeah, the samples. Yeah.
But I mean, not the control over the insurance that the state legislation also has. It's absolutely terrible. And so, we if we're complaining about it, we should be speaking up, not just complaining to one another about it. We should be, speaking at the right places in these regards.
Well, and that's one of the big things that I try to do with Hoosiers for Medical Liberty, is because I know that people, it's overwhelming and exhausting. And
it is.
If things are hard, if they're scary, people on average aren't going to do it. And we've been conditioned through learned helplessness to accept that, we have no say, air quotes, right? We have no say. Our voice isn't worth anything. Our vote doesn't
matter. Yeah.
That's been intentionally done. That is intentional deception to make you sit down, shut up, and comply.
Yeah.
And
Right,
so
right.
what we're doing is peeling off layers of apathy and fighting decades of, bureaucracy and, big money from pharma and everybody
Yeah,
else. And so
yeah.
we really work to educate and activate,
Mm-hmm.
then mobilize Hoosiers, people from Indiana, so that way they can participate in a meaningful way, because I'm not going to waste somebody's time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to ask you to do something that's not going to be effective.
Right.
Every
That's good.
year we fight for these bills. We don't
Right,
get very far, but if we don't ask, we're never going to get it. We have to make
right.
these things seen and heard and understood, and we have to keep growing. We effectively kill multiple bills every year. I use text messaging to make it very, very easy. If people are looking for a way to start a state organization,
Okay.
honestly, I'm going to tell you, go pick up, and I'm not just doing this as a self-serving thing. Go pick up a copy of Resuscitating Nursing, because this is exactly what I do in my state to change
To make
things.
change.
And
Yeah.
if you read this book and you're willing to put the effort in, I will help mentor you. I will give you tips, but don't waste my time, because I ain't playing. If you aren't going to
Right.
put in the work, I don't want to talk to you. But if
Right.
you seriously want to get some things done, whether that's in your hospital system or in your state legislature, go
Right.
get the book, get the workbook too, walk through these steps, and then shoot me an email. I actually talked to somebody from California before I put the book out.
Really?
Um, yeah, it was a connection through Tim, I think, actually.
Probably.
Um, fighting unions,
Hey.
and unions not representing them very well. Um, but it's using these tools to take back control,
To
because
make.
unions are just another bureaucratic level.
Yeah.
It's another
Yeah. We have
political
so much.
landscape that you have to navigate. Yeah. And so
Hmm. We have a
there
lot of
are
bureaucracy.
it's
A
intentional,
lot.
because it's a way to
Hmm.
control and manipulate and to keep you busy. If they can keep you
Right.
busy on the rat race and spinning on that wheel, then they don't have to
Hmm.
worry about you actually being effective.
Right. Right.
That's why
Yeah.
they like you confused and feeling helpless, with that learned helplessness. They want you to feel
Yeah.
insignificant, because then you won't fight back.
Yeah.
Is your book on Amazon? Can you
Yep.
buy it on
Yes.
You
Amazon?
can Yep, you can get it on Amazon. You can go to resuscitatingnursing.com. You can get free downloads if you're not quite sure yet and you want to make change, but you're just kind of
Yeah.
questioning. Go sign up for the email list, get the free downloads. There's a getting started workbook that I
Hmm.
have on there, all free. Go get it, use it,
Oh, that's
and then
nice.
you're going to want to get the book, so that way you can do more quicker, right? So, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
already put this link into the chat, and I will put
Yeah.
it also in the show description after we're finished here.
Yeah, it's important.
Scroll down a little bit on that
Oh.
website.
Let's do that really quick here.
If you don't
Where are we
mind.
at?
Okay.
Okay.
How
Keep
far down?
going. I can't remember. Probably another section or two.
Okay, working on that.
I'm going to buy it right now. Oh, look at how pretty my little Ashley looks.
Oh,
Beautiful
thank
there.
you.
No fluff. Real world
Okay.
tools.
No
Nonstop.
fluff.
No stopping us. Okay, we're
No
on the no
fluff.
fluff page.
Ashley does not play. I don't know where it's at. I would have to hop
Okay,
on and look
I want
and
to keep
see.
scrolling down here. Not
There.
ready.
Click
Test
to get
the
the
Oh,
free
water.
free
worksheet.
worksheet.
There you
Mhm.
go.
Okay. So
And
I
then
wanna
below
click.
that is the free quick start guide.
Okay, here we are.
Oh, I
So
like
you just have
that.
to log in, and
Okay.
then you can download the
there it is.
worksheets and use them.
Okay.
Yep.
So
And there's
do
an
we buy
app.
the book first and then get the other workbook second, right?
If you want to, so the book is like I got my master's in nursing education. I love to teach.
Right.
So
Right.
the book itself is going to be like the classroom material. If
Okay.
you want to apply what you're learning in the classroom, get the workbook
Right.
at the same time. You read the chapter
And then go to the work.
and go to the workbook, and then execute all the things.
Okay.
So that way you can have all the steps
tools.
completed right as you're going. It's like
Oh,
I'm
that's
sitting there
awesome.
holding your
With
hand,
us?
helping you through it. Mm-hmm.
That'd be great if you could. That is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to read the book first and then take a look at the workbook. So it does make more sense.
Yeah.
Instead of the other way around. And I'm usually a backwards guy, but I'm going to play it right this time.
Yeah.
But every state is different, right? Is that what it is? Every single state is different.
The legislatures are very similar, but they have their own nuances. Again, this book really is designed to teach you the tactics, not necessarily how to work within your legislature. So it'll teach you how to hold people accountable. It teaches you. So I go through politics 101. How does politics really work? If I'm telling you that you don't need to kiss butt, you don't need tons of money, and a bunch of clout, then what do you do? Like, how does politics really work? What motivates politicians? And in the book, I talk about the politician is basically your CEO. It could even be your city council. It could be your HOA president. Whoever that person is that is kind of dictating and making the rules, they're the politician. So I teach you politics 101. And then I go through and identifying what are the biggest problems that you have. So that way you can narrow it down. Because when we're talking about resuscitating nursing, there are so many problems. You can throw a dart at the wall and find something, right?
Where do you start?
You don't want to just go picking any battle. You want to try to pick a battle that is A, meaningful, and B, that you actually feel like you're going to gain some traction, because you don't want to demoralize your people by picking silly fights and nothing actually. Yes. Yeah. And then I talk about how to build your team, the kind of people that you're looking for, ways to make it so that you're not the only one carrying all the weight, because it is a big responsibility when you're leading the charge. I go into strategic communication, how to make sure that people understand the issue and then want to take action, which is mobilization. Don't go out just educating people about a problem. Nothing is going to change if you're just educating.
Because you have to learn how to fix it.
Action. Yeah.
Right.
You have to have that action. And then in the book, I go over like organizational structure, which is kind of the things that the way to set up different kinds of groups, whether that's a nonprofit, a union, a professional organization. And I talk about some of the pros and cons and give you a baseline to choose, because Facebook groups, while they're great, sometimes they aren't going to cut it in this situation. You need to be, really going after there, have an organization, have people, and then infrastructure like email and text messaging and, those things, if that's what you want to do. So, I mean, this is all applicable. This is all what I do to mobilize people in Indiana, but you will have to learn a bit about how your legislature works, when it runs.
And it is per state and per county as well within the state.
Right.
For instance, healthcare officers or officials differed from county to county.
Yep.
That's what
Department of Health. Yep.
Recognition of, and it was quite interesting. In California, was it San Benito County shared the same public health officer as Santa Cruz County? So there seems to be dipping going on there. But anyways, that's
how does that work?
Don't want to get into
that. Actually, that's a big issue because of socialized medicine. And we're going to start seeing more and more of that, even in the state that is a Republican supermajority here in Indiana. We have a lot of socialized medicine coming in, and those health officers sharing those positions is so that way they have control over more counties.
Yep.
And the public health officer in Los Angeles County, she looks like the crypt keeper from Tales from the Crypt. True story. Oh my God.
So scary.
I mean, these people don't look healthy, but trying to give health.
She looked very scary looking to me. She did. She looked kind of crazy. She had some crazy hair going on, and she'd come on every day and she just looked scary. And what she was saying was scary. And I'm like, I'm looking at the people that I love, and they're telling us to lock the door or stay inside, all this. And I'm like, no, we're going outside. I'm like, we're going outside. I don't want the germs staying inside. And it was funny because, everybody had a different perspective. Some people thought you should wear a mask. And I'm like, I don't want to wear a mask. I'm not. That's not going to work for me.
There's a funny video out there of the public health officer of Santa Clara County, giving a public address about what to do and what not to do. And she's saying, don't touch your face. Don't, touch your mouth.
Right.
She licks her finger to turn a page right after she's done saying that. And I'm just like, whoa. Really?
You're like, okay, so follow your own directions, lady. Right?
Practice what you preach. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really trust
common
people.
Sense.
You can't really trust everybody out there. You gotta use your own, judgment. So I'm glad you're educating us too.
It seemed like Ashley was just saying, common sense isn't so common anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not. Logic is, there's no such thing anymore. Common sense and logic.
And I think this is where mine and Tim's disdain for AI comes in, is because people are subjugating their thought patterns, processes, and thinking to AI.
Yeah.
And it's really
GPT
scary.
Or whatever is like everything right now.
Because whoever controls the information going in is what you're going to get out.
Right.
And then you lose those skills and you can't see through the propaganda. People will send me, I've had a couple friends send me videos and they're like, do you know anything about this? And I'm like, yeah, that's AI, dude. Like, don't listen
Everything's
to that.
AI.
Like they'll be getting religious. They see religious videos and they're like, what do you think about this? Do you think this is true? And I'm like, well, that's AI, first of all. Like, I can hear it in the way that it's scripted. AI is very repetitive. Well, no, it's like, it sounds like a real human's voice, but the message is repetitive and it's not linear in.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Thought.
Yeah, I get you. So like with my dad, who's older, getting an appointment for him is usually like a 6-month wait or something. So they do have some current legislation in California about getting medical care sooner, I think, and getting more doctors, that kind of stuff. But still, it's not, they still want to give you the jab every time you go, it's managed healthcare. Every time you go in, they want to give you a jab of something. And it's always
just a checkup, or if he has a health issue, he can't get in. Like, what's the
I got an email about a week ago from a healthcare system in California saying that I'm scheduled to get the jab.
Yeah, they tell them that all the time.
I just want to write back to them, quit soliciting your junk.
So you have to use urgent care. We have to use urgent care all the time for my dad. And everything is facilitated through your primary doctor, right? So it just, learning how to navigate it is, you need a manual right there just for that, just to know what your rules are and the laws are and all that. It's scary.
It's so frustrating. I'm not very familiar with what's going on in California in healthcare. I think some of it is the shortage of physicians in part.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's a huge issue. And I think that's only going to grow.
Yeah, it is. It's getting worse already.
I think people, if I could say something to people, is get out of that system. Do not rely on that system.
Right.
It would be much better. I mean, the burden of chronic illness is so great in our country. Like, we really have to take ownership for our health. Somebody who's 80, 90 years old, they're not going to be able to change. If you're in your 40s and 50s, you still have time to improve your health, at least slow down some of that progression, maybe not be in the system as much. If you're on multiple medications, you're in the system and you're stuck with the system. You need to get in touch with a functional medicine provider or start looking at lifestyle and diet modifications, walking holistic. 20 minutes 3 times a week, making sure that you're eating real food, not processed, packaged junk.
Right.
Stay away from fast food, stay away from sodas, stay away from artificial sweeteners. You want to poison yourself and cause yourself to have liver problems, take the sweeteners. Again, not medical advice.
Wow.
But find somebody who can help coach you in that form, so that way you can take responsibility of your own health. You are responsible for it, not the doctor.
Correct.
Well, coming up to 2 years ago, I started a wonderful little health journey. It was late April 2 years ago. And I changed my diet completely. I dropped almost all sugars. I can't say all of them because sugar is highly addicting. And I've noticed a great deal I actually weaned myself off the last pharmaceutical. It's been over 2 years since I've seen a doctor. And yeah, I'm doing very well.
That's good.
So to speak. But this is, on my own recognizance. I'm not giving advice to anybody else.
Yeah.
Do your homework, do your research, and also
I
consult
agree.
your medical provider. I can't speak for anyone but myself.
If you're thinking about coming off your medications, if you are on pharmaceuticals, you really need to work with a trained professional to get you off those medications. If you are on any psychiatric medications, any depression medicines, do not stop those on your own. You will cause yourself problems and you could end up worse. Okay.
Right.
So, work with somebody to do that. But I don't believe that there is one right way to do anything. There will be some people who will be better off taking pharmaceuticals. I'm not going to lie. And some of my very crunchy friends may want to shoot me for that statement. But if you're not willing to take accountability, or there's been so much damage that your body is not capable of healing, maybe that's the best option for you. So work with a good qualified provider. But you will see that your health will improve if you start giving it the tools to heal. Your body is designed to heal. God made us beautifully. Our backup systems have backup systems have backup systems.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Every time you do something positive for your body, every time you can take a forward step in health and healing, true health and healing, your body is able to double down on those efforts. And people don't realize that. They don't realize how much your body is working. Go back to high school science. The word homeostasis, does that ring a bell?
Right.
Homeostasis. Your body is constantly trying to get itself back into optimal levels. And that is by God's design. And so every time you try to give your body just a little bit, whether that's nutrition, rest, hydration, water, actual water, exercise, you're giving your body a gift, and it's going to pay you back in dividends. So
yes, absolutely.
I agree.
Well, we're going to wrap up really quick here. Ashley, how can people get a hold of you?
You're so welcome. Thanks for asking, Tim. You can visit resuscitatingnursing.com. You can, at the bottom of the webpage there, you can find all my socials, and you can email me and all the things. So it's just easiest to go to resuscitatingnursing.com, and you can find me from there.
So I think I
go on Amazon. Get the book.
Is that the same as WTAjourney.com/RN book? Okay.
Yeah,
I already put that in the chat, and I will put that in the show description after we're all done.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this has been really good, really informative, and I totally miss you, Ashley. Wow.
I know.
Spicy.
Since you have that WTAjourney.com in there, if you are looking for a class on self-advocacy, I briefly touched on moral injury. There are a lot of resources within that page that you can access and help yourself.
Awesome. I love that.
And I've actually taken the moral injury. I've actually looked into those courses, and very excellent. You don't have to be a nurse to have that.
Right.
It actually covers a good amount of PTSD as well, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're doing the good work out there, so you're teaching us too, so we can fix it ourselves. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't want you to be dependent on anybody. You should be able to help yourself and get advice along the way.
Yeah, I'm going on Amazon right now to get that book when we hang up here.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Nurse Ashley, and hopefully we'll catch up soon. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to catch us on Tim Holiday TV or anywhere you see this wonderful logo. We're all over social media, and we're now available on the audio podcasts. So be sure to join in next week, right around the same time. And we're going to have some wonderful guests on next week. So stay tuned and have yourself a good evening.
Thank you.